There we go. Hello, everybody. It's the Meister from Brews and Tunes. How you doing, everybody? I'm really excited today. Very, very excited today. I am talking with Marco Pastorino of Temperance, one of my favorite bands. Great, killer power metal band from Italy. Super excited to be chatting with you, especially and congratulations on the release of your new album that just came out Friday, Diamanti, which is phenomenal. Great album. So.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, how you doing today?
I'm fine. We played yesterday the first show for Diamanti, the release party in Italy, the release show. So it was great. Nice. Because of course we played again in Italy after almost 2 years. So it was great. We received a great feedback also about the album. So thank you for your time.
Yeah, and it's a wonderful album. It's funny. I pre-ordered it on vinyl, but because of all the supply chain issues, it didn't show up. I was hoping I would have it so I could hold it up.
I know. We received the vinyls because, as you know, there are several editions of the album and of the vinyls. I mean, and we will receive the vinyls next week. So probably in US you will receive this one. I think in 2 or 3 weeks.
But so I downloaded. I did a digital.
Okay.
Because I can't wait. I gotta hear it. Especially because I loved the last album, Viridian, that came out in 2020, is also a fantastic album. So once I found out about Diamanti, I pre-ordered it, and then it didn't show up. I'm like, I gotta hear this. I can't wait. Especially talking to you, it's like, I got to listen to it. And yeah, I love it. It's great. It's very cool. And I like the fact that you guys did multiple language versions of the song, of the title track, Diamanti. That's pretty cool. There's, at least the chorus is in German, Spanish, Italian, I think. I can't remember what else. English.
German and French and Spanish.
Yeah, which is a very cool idea.
It was a very big challenge for us because, of course, someone of us, for example, Alessia, talk French. I understand a little bit of Spanish, and it was not so difficult for me singing Spanish. The same for Michele about the German. Oh. But for example, for me, German is a pain in the ass, really, because I don't know German at all. And it was the same for Michele about Spanish because he doesn't speak Spanish at all. Okay. So, but it was a very cool thing. It's a different thing, and a lot of people loved the stuff. For example, in Canada and France, a lot of people say, "Oh, the French version is amazing. You have to sing Diamanti in this version when you will play in France." So let's see.
That's what I was going to ask. Once you're able to tour, when you go to those countries that speak those languages, is the plan to sing in those languages?
We will try. Maybe not all chorus, but maybe only one chorus just to do something special. But the thing is, in other country like Netherlands, a lot of people ask us already the Dutch version. So it's a disaster. Probably we have to figure out a way to do the Dutch version, the Russian, the Japanese.
Oh wow, yeah. You may have opened a can of worms here. This might be a little tricky.
Yes, it's a little bit tricky right now.
But it's a really cool idea. I think it's a great idea. And yeah, especially the fans in those countries. I mean, they've got to love that. It's very cool. So the album just came out, as I said, on Friday, and you just had the release party yesterday. So very cool. How was the recording process, and was it, because the last album you released right before the pandemic. So I would imagine, was this trickier? Were you able to all get together and play together? Were you having to do kind of separate studio times, or?
So the thing is, we began to work on this new record during the first lockdown on March and April 2020, because we did not plan at all, because back then no one knew what what could happen and some stuff like that. So I began to write some stuff, some songs, and I think we began to record the stuff on February 2021.
Okay.
Back then, it was not possible for the first weeks being together. I record my stuff in a studio close to my place, the same stuff for the bass. But luckily, we had a chance to be together for the vocal session, because usually we spend a lot of time to get together. I mean, Alessia, Michele, and me. We record in the same room just for to have good vibes for everyone, good input, to change something, to decide who will sing this part and some stuff like that. But it was okay. The good thing about Diamanti, in my opinion, is that we had more time to focus on the lyrics, on good lyrics. I think the best lyrics we ever had and we ever wrote so far, for sure. And also about the arrangements, because we spent a lot of time just to create orchestral arrangements, because this album, in my opinion, is a little bit different than Viridian and Of Jupiter and Moons and our previous albums, because we decided to push the symphonic elements, and delete the electronic elements with no plan at all, as I told you before, but just because we think that for Diamanti we had to push these symphonic elements because of the songs.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, and like I said, it's such a great album. I really love it. And
thank you so much.
Yeah, and as you said, I think lyrically, vocally, and musically, it's and I love Viridian, but it's like the next step up. It's the next level.
Thank you. Glad to know.
And it's cool that I'm glad to hear that you guys were able to record the vocals together, because I think that's a very important element, especially
of course.
You've got 3 lead vocalists, and you guys have these really amazing harmonies, and I would imagine it would be really hard to create those harmonies if you're recording separately. I mean, you could do it, but it seems like, and I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but it seems like you guys really feed off of each other's energy as vocalists.
It's true. But also because when we wrote the song, for example, when I wrote Diamanti or Black is My Heart, Pure Life Unfolds, I had already in my mind, okay, the first verse could be Michele, the chorus Alessia, but in studio something can change, because maybe some vocal doesn't fix very well for this part. The vocal range is a little bit extreme for me or Alessia, or the mood, and we usually try to change and have different options just to see the final result. And is a very good thing. Is one of my favorite part of the recordings, because it's very funny, and we enjoyed a lot every day.
Nice. Yeah, that's really what it's about, right? I mean, it's obviously work, but I mean, if you don't enjoy it, then what's the point?
Of course.
Which is that's great. That's really cool. So at this point, are there plans for? I know everything's kind of up in the air, especially in Europe right now. But are there plans for a tour, or at least shows? I mean, obviously you were able to play yesterday, but I don't know if there are any festivals you guys are planning on attending, or any touring in Italy or beyond at this point.
So luckily we played in a festival in Netherlands a couple of weeks ago, just after the release of Breaking the Rules of Heavy Metal, our second single. So we were able to play with Order Organ and Majestic and Live Size in Netherlands.
Cool.
And we have a lot of plans for the next year. No one knows what will happen, but I'm the positive guy of the band, so I think that the next tours will happen. We have already 4 tours for the next week, not next week, sorry, next year in Europe. We'll go on February in UK, France, and Spain with Taria, and in March another leg of the tour with Taria in Germany, Netherlands, Switzerland, and from the end of March until the end of April, we will have 1 month as a liner tour in Europe, and for the first time we'll play in some countries as Belarus, Latvia, Lithuania, but of course the East Europe, Germany, again UK, Scotland. So we have a lot of plans for the next year. Really, we can't wait to come back on tour because we miss a lot of this kind of stuff. We are a touring band, we are a live band, so we miss this stuff a lot.
Yeah, very cool. Any intention or plans to come to the United States or South America?
Honestly, no plan at all for US because it seems like it's gonna be difficult year after year. Most difficult, I mean, more difficult. During the last years, we received a lot of proposals for South America, but also for South America, it's very difficult. But hopefully, I don't think next year, but maybe in 2023, I think. Is one of our goals because we never played in Latin America, in South America.
Cool. Yeah, that would be very cool. And I would imagine you're hugely popular there as well. I would think, you know, I know Latin America, there's a, you know, thriving metal culture there.
Yes, but honestly, I think that our biggest market right now is Europe and US, of course, because we have a lot of fans in US. Also in South America, Latin America, but about the sales, you know, is a little bit different. So, but we have a lot of fans also there. So let's see.
Yeah, cool. Well, hopefully, we'll cross our fingers.
Yes.
Hopefully we'll see you over here sometime soon. And you're a, you know, it's funny because you're a really hardworking musician. You're not only, you know, are you in Temperance, but you're in Wonders. I mean, you sing in Wonders, you sing in Even Flow, and multiple other. I mean, you've had a long history over the last, you know, decade in a lot of bands in Italy. You know, and you know, far-reaching influence as well. So kind of how do you balance all of that? I would imagine it's not easy. I mean, maybe, you know, everything's kind of different now with the world.
Of course. But this is the reason in the last 2 years I did a lot of stuff because basically my bands are Temperance and I have a prog metal band called Virtual Symmetry from Switzerland. We will go on tour next year with Evergrey from Sweden.
Oh, cool.
And basically these are my bands because the other stuff you said before as Wonders, Even Flow, I'm not a member of the band. I'm a sort of guest singer. Of course we are very friends, but I'm not part of the band. I'm just a guest. And I'm so glad to record the vocals, to do some gigs. But my main bands are, of course, Temperance and Virtual Symmetry. And I'm gonna to share a very cool thing. I think in 1 or 2 weeks. So you will see on my pages very soon. A very big news.
Oh, nice! Very exciting. I will definitely keep an eye out for that. That's cool.
Oh yes.
Nice. So let's go back in time a little bit. How did you originally get started in music? Because, you know, of course, you're a vocalist and a guitar player, and you do a lot of writing. Of course, you're the founding member of Temperance. So yeah, kind of how did you get started originally as a kid? Did you come from a musical family? You know, kind of what got you into metal and playing guitar and singing?
Not at all, because in my family, no one play an instrument. Of course, they love music, but as everyone, I think, they're not big fan of rock and metal in general. But when I was, I think, 11 years old, I began to play guitar. I studied classical guitar for 3 years, and after that, I moved to electric guitar, and I study a lot. I remember when I was a young boy, I played at least 6 or 7 years, hours every day.
Wow.
And after that, I began to sing a little bit, but I never take a vocal lesson. So I tried to understand the way to figure out how to use my voice, my vocal, I mean. And after that, I think when I was 20, I began to play in a band called Secret Sphere from Italy. Back then, they released some albums with Nuclear Blast, and we did some tours together. I played with them for, I think, 7 years. I played in Japan several times with them, in every part of Europe, at Wacken in Germany.
Oh, cool.
And so basically, this is my story. I did a lot of stuff in this last decade, as you said before, and right now, besides Temperance, I'm a producer, songwriter, guest singer for all the stuff. But I'm writing a lot of stuff for other projects, other bands, other labels. So.
Oh wow, yeah, you're a busy guy.
Yes, yeah. but just because I really love music, and this is the first thing that I think when I wake up in the morning, and the last thing before to go to the bed. So
nice. As far as the writing goes, especially for Temperance, so is that kind of I mean, it seems like, do you start with like writing riffs and then kind of get together with your bandmates and kind of come up with concepts, or you're kind of the primary songwriter, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, but then kind of how do you guys is it kind of collaborative? Do you get together and kind of toss around ideas, lyrics, or kind of what's your process?
Depends, of course. Also about songwriting, there are no rules, but basically I work on some demos with guitars, vocals, piano, bass, fake drums, of course, and vocal lines, orchestration. And when we have to do a new album, when I have some good songs, in my opinion, I will send to the other guys. And of course, about the lyrics is another thing, because I think 90% of the lyrics of the last album was made by Michele Alessia. Usually, I did only 2 or 3 songs per album, because I think Michele is a better lyricist than me, honestly. But about the music, usually I don't know about the drums or the bass. Luke Alfonso, of course, arranged some parts, but basically 90% of the stuff is already done and brought by me, basically.
Nice, very cool. Now, I was curious about kind of because there's kind of like 2 phases almost, you could say, of Temperance. There was kind of the early years of the band, which started like 2013, I think, is when the band started.
Yes, at the end, yes.
And
at
then
the end of
and they put out a couple albums then, and then like I guess it would have been like 2017-ish, 2018 is like you basically kind of rebuilt the entire band, and and kind of, I mean, it still had the same sound, but I think, and no offense to anybody any past members, but I think the 3 of you as vocalists, I mean, that changed kind of the whole dynamic in a lot of ways, and really,
of course,
exploded. Now, did you know Michele already, or how did that come about? How did you kind of form the new version of Temperance in 2018?
I met Michele for the first time just before to create Temperance. It's crazy, because we did a long tour together with my previous band, Secret Sphere, and after that, of course, we were in touch, because I worked with them for some stuff for his previous band too, and so after a tour we did together with Temperance and his previous band called Overtures, we decided to change the singer of Temperance, Chiara, and we thought, okay, maybe we can try to do a new step for us, because back then at the beginning of Temperance, only with Chiara and me, two singers, was not possible for sure. Did a lot of harmonies during the live show, so we used some backing tracks as every metal band right now. But after that we said, okay, maybe we can try to do a next step for Temperance and add 2 singers, so we'll be in 3 singers on stage, and we don't need at all backing tracks, because honestly I really hate the backing tracks with vocals. It's a little bit fake in my opinion. So we tried, and I think that Alessia and Michele, they fixed it perfectly in our sound.
Yeah.
And as you said before, now it's a little bit different, because of course the trademarks of Temperance are pretty much the same than the first albums, of course, because also in the first 3 albums I wrote the stuff with the old drummer, because we split the songwriting. But right now is a little bit more adult, mature, can I say this? Maybe. And of course with 3 singers and with a amazing singer like Michele, an amazing singer like Alessia, is very easy for me write some new stuff.
Yeah, and you guys fit so well together. It feels, I mean, it's one, you just have these really incredible harmonies, but it also feels very organic. Like, I mean, if you hadn't told me, I would have assumed you guys have been singing together for years and years and years. You know, I mean, it just seems like you guys play off of each other so well. I mean, I think the first time, I'm trying to remember which song it was. I know it was from Of Jupiter and Moon, but I think
Broken Promises, maybe.
Yeah, I think when I heard that, I mean, it just stopped me in my tracks. I'm like, who is this? What is this? You know, I needed to find out what this is immediately. Yeah, I was just so.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so I went and looked it up, and found the video, and yeah, and I was just amazed by the vocal power. The vocal prowess you guys have, and just those harmonies are incredible. I really enjoyed that a lot. And then also, I mean, there's, I think that's one thing that in anytime I've read about Temperance albums, there's a lot of emphasis on the vocals, of course, but I think another important, I mean, you're a great guitar player, really cool riffs. I mean, really metal.
Thank you so much.
And I think that's something that also really drew me to the band as well, just because I've always loved power metal and kind of symphonic power metal, and you guys really embrace all those elements, which I think is very cool.
But thank you so much. I think that our highlight, if I can say that, of course, is about the vocals and about the drums and bass, because our drummer Alfonso is a monster, and also Luca is an amazing bass player, and he plays the bass in a different way than the other power metal bass player, a little bit different, more modern, and it tried to put the unconventional stuff there, also gent and jazz and blues stuff, rock stuff in power metal. And honestly, I don't think I'm the best guitar player in the world, but just because I'm really into the songwriting, so and the arrangements, and I think that I would like to be a better guitarist. But sometimes I think that for Temperance we don't need to do a lot of stuff on guitar, because a lot of stuff is happening in the vocals, in the orchestral sound in general. So on the drums, for example, if you listen, if your life unfolds, the drums are crazy, because there are a lot of crazy parts there. So I think it's enough.
It's like you said, there's a lot of cool stuff. Really cool bass lines. The drumming. I'm glad you brought that up. He is a monster drummer. He's
a monster.
Really.
The good thing is that Alfonso really is one of my favorite drummer. When we began to play with him, I was so glad to know him because he's very young. Right now he's 26 years old, but back then it was 2021. So and I said, "Fuck, you are great. We have to do an album together."
Yeah, nice, very cool. So as far as this is kind of a three-pronged question, I guess you could say. I was curious about your influences, both, as a songwriter, as a guitar player, and also as a vocalist. Like, who have been kind of your big influences? I know that's a kind of a loaded question.
No, it's a very good question. As I told you before, I began as guitarist. So as guitarist, I have a lot of different influences. But for example, of course, Malmsteen, because I'm a big fan of Malmsteen. But probably one of my biggest influence, it was Chris Oliva from Savatage, because I'm a big fan of Savatage from many years, and I think he did an amazing job back then. Of course, probably is my biggest influence on guitar. About the singers, a lot. Really, I can talk about singers for hours, but if I have to talk only about, I don't know, 2 or 3 singers, I think I would say Michael Kiske from Halloween.
Yeah.
Because when I heard for the first time I'm Alive from Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 1, I was, what? It's amazing. So, impossible to replace, in my opinion, is one of the most important singer in not only in the power metal scene, but in general, I think. And a lot, for sure, Jorlande, because I really love Jorn, and the fact that he has a lot of different colors in his voice, not only the route one, the rock one, but also some very soul stuff like Glenn Hughes and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and I would say
almost.
Yes, very, very Coverdale.
Coverdale.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think one of my biggest inspiration, it was Michele Luppi, the singer of Vision Divine. I don't know if you know him.
I know the name. I'm trying to.
You have to check it out, Michele Luppi, because he did a great job with Vision Divine, and we luckily we played together in Secret Sphere, my previous band, and is a monster, and I'm very inspired by him about the harmonies, the choirs, and the different point of view about the vocals in general, and about the songwriting, right?
Also,
I only have to say one single name, and is Tobias Sammet, for sure.
Oh, okay, nice.
Because it probably is my biggest hero right now about the songwriting. He wrote a lot of stuff in few years, so I'm trying to cross the same path.
Yeah, as I was saying, I mean, you guys have, you put out, 3 albums in a fairly short window of time, especially compared to other bands, and especially other bands in the same kind of genre of, power metal. It seems like, some of these bands, it'll be years before, in between albums. Whereas, I was kind of surprised when, when you guys announced Diamanti. I'm like, wow, because it seems like, Viridian still seems very fresh and new.
Yes.
Maybe part because you weren't able to tour with it. So
of course, this is the reason, but also because there is no sense at all to wait another year just to wait another tour to promote Viridian 2 years later. No sense at all. Right now the music market is changing very fast, so you have to push the band almost every year, almost 1 year and a half. So you have to do this if you wanna try to reach some top level, I think.
Yeah, I agree. It seems like the music industry has changed a lot in the 10 years, whereas kind of in the previous, in the past, especially when we were kids, it was kind of the same model that was used in the 60s and 70s as was what was used in the 80s. And then with the internet, that kind of just changed everything. Like everything changed in terms of promotion, and there's so many bands out there now, and I think
of course
that kind of vie for for publication, and there's even though I know a lot of the bands get along and they like each other and they tour together, it seems very competitive in terms of just trying to like you said, I mean, just trying to stay relevant and keeping new stuff coming out, because people are just buying stuff with their phones so easily, whereas before I think when I was a kid, I just waiting, like you'd hear the album and just waiting for sometimes years before anything would come out.
Yes.
Whereas now,
but I see also the good side of the stuff, because of course, as you said, during the last 10 years, it was a disaster about the market, about the sales especially, because a lot of people just hear the album, I don't know, on Spotify, on YouTube, and that's it. So is a economically disaster for bands and labels. But right now it's very easy discover new bands from other parts of the world, in US, Latin America, Europe. It's easier right now try to support this band, because you can try to buy the album directly to the band or on Amazon for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. The thing is, we live in this period of time, so we have to accept this kind of thing. And I'm pretty much okay, because also I'm also using a lot of Spotify just to discover new bands and hear new stuff from my favorite bands. I'm still buying a lot of albums because I'm addicted to the physical albums. But I'm using a lot of Spotify.
Yeah, I'm definitely the same way. I buy a lot of vinyl. I love old records, and new records. I love vinyl, and especially I love the fact that, well, like bands like Temperance and lots of bands now, they're releasing, especially like on Napalm and Nuclear Blast, these cool color vinyls. Very
amazing.
Yeah,
very
it's
cool.
Great. I love it, and I remember when I was a kid, like colored vinyl didn't sound great, but now it's, I guess, just with the technology, it sounds great. It sounds just like black vinyl. It's perfect. It sounds great.
No, it's true.
But I agree. I definitely agree with you with the web has kind of made the world a little smaller, where you can find kind of anything now. It's great.
Of course.
But
for example, also about this interview, maybe 20 years ago was not possible, because of course we had to do a phone call, but probably it was very expensive. So okay, I will send a letter. I don't know.
Yeah, and you'd wait and wait. Yeah, it would take forever. That's a good point. And I remember, when I was young, especially high school, I'd read in the magazine, the metal magazines, read about a band from Europe, and you never see the stuff. Like you could never find the albums, and especially if it wasn't a really big band. Like you'd read about it, like, oh, I want to check this band out. And I remember, trying to order a tape, cassette tape of some band. It was, but I think it was a band from Germany, and it would have cost me $50 then to have it shipped over. I mean, it was because it was rare. It was, it's like,
and back then I think it was like $100 today.
Yeah. So it was just really expensive to try to get, especially underground, kind of more under.
Yes.
Yeah, very high. Because as you said, now it's like it's great because it's available. You can find all this cool stuff that I've read about.
Yes.
Always been curious about, and the great thing is you can sample the music, like on iTunes or whatever, or Spotify. You can hear some of this stuff, and and I don't usually download music. I use Spotify or iTunes to discover new stuff, and then I'll buy physical albums, But like I said, I couldn't wait for Diamanti to come out.
Yes. Diamanti is coming. Diamanti is coming.
It'll be here soon. I'm excited, but yeah, it's like I got to hear this. So yeah, and what a great album. This has been great. Thank you so much for chatting with me. I do want to ask you. I have one last question for you, and I don't know if you're a beer drinker or not, but so my blog is Brews and Tunes. I pair heavy metal albums with craft beer. So you're hanging out on a Saturday night, after a show or whatever. What album are you listening to? What do you like to listen to? And I don't know if you drink beer or not, but if you do, what beer would you be drinking? And what album would you be listening to?
I think about a beer, I'm a little bit boring because honestly, for me, a blonde one is pretty much okay. So depends by the situation, but probably a blonde one. About the album, you mean to celebrate the Saturday night, to chill a little bit, or what?
Yeah. Celebrate. Yeah. What are you?
Okay.
Look out to.
Depends by the situation, but I think I will tell you one album that I'm listening a lot, in maybe two albums that I'm listening a lot during these days. The new Ad Infinitum album, because I'm enjoying a lot this album, and I really love Meista vocals, and I think I heard this album, I don't know, hundreds of times on Spotify, and I'm waiting my physical copy for sure. And but about a celebration for the Saturday night, I think the new Crazy Leaks album, because it's fucking great. It's very rock. It's a good album to celebrate a very cool weekend with your friends. I think.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, Marco, it's been awesome chatting with you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you. And everybody out there, definitely check out the new Temperance album, Diamanti. It is fantastic. So very cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Victor. See you soon, hopefully.